Thank you so much. So I'm going to talk about the body right now. I think that the body is something that we often forget about, especially as developers and designers for augmented and virtual reality. If anyone has done VR demos and has put some people in VR, and this happens with AR as well, I've seen people go stock still. They forget that they can move their head and look around in 360 degrees. And the question then is, how do we solve this? How do we get someone back into their body and become aware that they have this thing that they move through space? And so a few years ago, I had a friend who looked at me and said, "You have a body. It does body things." And this is more true than anything I've ever heard. We all have a body. It doesn't matter what our hair color is, our eye color is, how different we are from the person next to us, what language we speak. We all experience the world through our bodies. And as we experience this physical world, we use our bodies, and there are a series of motions, and they're not repetitive. When we do repetitive motions or when we sit still for too long, we get a lot of pain. I was on a train last year, and I saw this guy who couldn't have been more than 26 years old, and both of his wrists were in braces, and he was a programmer. He was on some kind of sublime text. And that same summer, last year, I met a 16-year-old who couldn't use his right arm, which was his dominant arm, because he had carpal tunnel. And so he was healing from that. And when we suddenly find ourselves moving from 2 dimensions, where our primary mode of interaction is tapping and clicking and holding our phone really closely with our thumbs, maybe we get thumb pain, or we stare at a screen and it's 2 inches from our face, we get headaches, we get backaches. We need to remind the users that they have a body. So the way that I think about this, and I have a background in computer science and a bunch of other stuff, but not really theater, but the work that I end up doing is very theatrical. So I'm gonna set a little stage in space. We're gonna imagine it together. So there's a table. Imagine a table. There's nothing else around, but at the edge of the table is a vase, and this vase is going to fall. I tell you that you need to catch it. Suddenly the vase begins to fall. So at this point, 2 things can happen. First, you rush over to catch the vase. Doesn't matter if it's virtual, augmented, or if it's a real vase. If you rush to catch it, you've already bought into this physical experience. You have bought into embodying yourself and running. You've given me a big motion. This is a commitment. This is a critical moment this is a critical moment. If you don't catch the vase and it falls, then you're giving me something else. This isn't a bad thing, because suddenly you have to stoop down and you're giving me another big non-trivial movement. You have to reach down with your entire body and then come back up. Something that's also really interesting, and something that everyone is saying, that the future of IoT, of this technology, is going to be voice interface. We have Alexa, we have Google Home. What no one seems to talk about is the fact that no one can make us talk. Talking is a choice, and voice is the ultimate form of agency. Someone can move my body, they can grab my arm, they can manipulate my fingers in any way. If I'm asleep, someone can pick me up. But no one can force my vocal cords to move and force me to say something. So this is really special. If we go back to this vase, and we say that you can stop the vase by speaking, by telling the vase to stop, we want to make sure that the user is aware of their own voice. So what we can do is we can put a decibel floor, and this will only work, the vase will only stop if you speak loud enough that you're not speaking weakly and what did you say, right? So this is something that you can use not just for entertainment, you can use this for enterprise, because the lesson here is that big motions bring attention to the body. Big motions bring attention to your agency in the world. What you can do, this is all a metaphorical contract. To sign this contract is to click the I agree button. The set of interactions that we design are the terms and service of our app or experience. So, something that I'm also really interested in is, and this is kind of an admission, I really like slippery floors and I like socks and I love playing around with the Magic Leap or the HoloLens when I can just run and slide. So suddenly, who's to stop me from creating interactions that are based on speed? Super fun, super fun. But what's really interesting, so we all know that when we exercise, our body releases endorphins. Endorphins are the thing that make us feel good, feel happy, we breathe. And if we can design bigger movements for tech and break out of 2 dimensions into 3 dimensions, perhaps we might release endorphins on a day-to-day instead of sitting still. And perhaps we'll have a more wonderful, happier society because of this. So, thank you.